Hi, I'm Mike, and today we continue with our haying series and quite literally wrap things up by taking a look at the final step in making a bale of hay. That step is getting out with the most complicated and most expensive implement we own, firing up the baler and rolling the hay on our Wyoming Life. Welcome back to our series on haying. Making the bales that'll feed the cows all winter long is one of the most important steps on the ranch, probably just as important as calving. The hay that we make on the ranch can make the difference between profit and loss. It can make the difference between selling cows or expanding the herd. And sometimes it can make a huge impact on the future of the ranch itself. Let's take a quick look back over the last few years. In a normal year, the hay that we can make on the ranch will feed the cows over the entire winter. We have over 500 acres of hay ground to do. And with just minimal output, 1 ton per acre, we can do that. Of course, in order to do that, the grass has to grow. It needs a combination of things all at the right time to give us that kind of hay. We need sun, rain, and the right temperature. In this area of Wyoming, we average about 14 inches of rain per year. And in order for the hay to take full advantage of that rain, we have to have at least some of that in April and May. That way, the rain will give the grass the moisture it needs to get off to a good start. The average rainfall for April is 2 to 3 inches. This year, we got about 1 inch. The average for May is 5 inches, and this year we got about 2. So instead of upwards of 8 inches of rain to get the grass off to a head start, we got 3 of those, less than half of what we needed. The lack of early rain is what really did in the hay this year. It's been worse, but for the 3rd year in a row, it looks like we're gonna be buying feed for the cows for this winter. We still haven't figured out how we're gonna do that, but we don't have much choice. It's gonna happen. I hate to sound like I'm complaining because I'm really not. I can't control the weather, and when faced with a situation that you can't control, you make the best of it. And as they say, you make hay while the sun shines. Today we are truly making hay. We are going to be taking 70 acres of grass and rolling it up into 1,400-pound bales. This is what we call the B field, for obvious reasons. And to help us make the bales, we have a John Deere 568 baler. It's 12 feet long, over 9 feet high, and weighs in at just over 2 tons. I know that 70 acres is hard to judge, and when we first came to the ranch, I couldn't have shown you the difference between 5 and 20 acres. So let's see what I can do to help. 70 acres is 53 football fields, or 35 city blocks. Either way, it's a chunk of land. And it took roughly 8 hours to mow it. And before we get into baling it, we have to take a step back and talk about raking once again. When it comes to economics on the ranch, one thing that we definitely look at is wear and tear on machinery and equipment, as well as replacement or repair costs. I can tell you that a rake costs right around $20,000. That's a big chunk of money. But a new baler can cost upwards of $60,000 or even more. That's a bigger chunk. And repair costs compare about the same. So a long time ago, especially since we've been fighting with thin hay over the last few years, I've decided that I'd put extra wear and tear on the rake instead of the baler. The baler could be pulled around the field and used to pick up smaller windrows of hay that the rake has already put together. But I can cut the runtime, the wear and tear on the baler, in half by spending some extra time and putting windrows together. It only makes sense. And if I can cut it in half again by putting 2 more together, I'm going to do that. So before we get to baling, we roll some windrows together, making larger windrows made up of more hay that'll make bales faster and more efficiently. After all this work, 8 hours of mowing, 8 hours of raking, we're going to have maybe an hour or so making bales. And we have to make the baler last. Once the rows are all rolled together, it's time to get in the baler. The baler attaches to the tractor just like any other implement, with a pin. It also attaches to the PTO of the tractor to make it work. But unlike most other PTO implements we have, the baler runs at 1,000 RPM instead of 540 like the mower. Changing from 540 RPM PTO speed to 1,000 is done at the back of the tractor by removing the PTO shaft and turning it around. The 540 PTO side has big, thick splines. The 1,000 RPM side has smaller and closer together splines. The entire shaft is held in place with a snap ring, and just like that, we're good to go. Then we attach the PTO shaft to the tractor, then the hydraulics. Everything gets dirty while haying, trust me. All the tractors will get a nice bath when we're all done. After the hydraulics, then comes the brain of the baler, the baling computer. It's placed in the cab of the tractor, and the connectors are run out the back window where they're connected to the baler itself. After all that, we're ready to go. I actually like baling. It's pretty simple, but not only that, it's quite relaxing. Like all of haying, you spend hours in the field, and by default, you spend hours with nature. Deer many times cross my path, and then run from it. Even though I will see them again my next time around. Antelope meander through, and yes, even snakes come slithering out of the taller grass. This is a bull snake, perfectly harmless, and actually a friend to the ranch, as he really likes to dine on rodents. I'm glad that he didn't get baled like this rattlesnake from a couple years ago. Wildlife aside, we do have a job to do. The pickup on the front of the baler is what is going to grab hay and move it into the machine. It is lowered to the ground. The baler is turned on, and we're ready to go. The whole point of baling is to keep the bale even in shape, and that's where the baling computer comes in. It controls everything electrical about the baler. But the only thing we really need to worry about today is the number of times we're going to wrap each bale in net wrap, which is stored in the back of the baler, and how each bale is formed. Once we're up and rolling, the computer is going to show us two black bars. Each bar represents the side of the bale, and our goal here is to end up with an evenly shaped bale. And here's how I like to do it. First off, everybody that I have ever talked to about this has their own method for forming bales. This is mine. And the great thing about all the methods is that we all end up with a bale, eventually. As we take off down the windrow, the baler grabs the hay and starts rolling it between the belts. The first part of the bale that we're going to form is called the core, and it's very important to the shape of the bale. As we form this first part of the bale, we need to keep the black bars even. As one side starts to fill up a little bit more, the bar will rise, and we can counteract that by moving the tractor over and getting more of the hay in the other side of the baler. Once we reach a bale size of just over 22 inches, the screen will start showing the actual size of the bale in inches. Now we can really start making the bale. I like to fill one side of the bale to the top of the black bar, then move over to the other side and start filling that one, swerving back and forth over the windrow and pack the hay into the bale so it's even on both sides. When we reach 55 inches, the computer will beep at us. Now we move back to our maintenance mode and we try to keep the bars even once again until we reach 60 inches. That's the size of the bale we're going for. When that happens, the computer beeps some more, telling you to stop. You have 2 seconds to stop before the bale starts wrapping in net wrap. A few seconds later, we're told to eject the bale. Pulling the hydraulic lever, the baler pops open and pushes out a nicely formed bale. I have my moments of daydreaming. My phone rings or something else distracts me, and occasionally an uneven bale will sneak through. It happens. And luckily they feed exactly the same as perfectly shaped bales. They even stack the same. But the computer will help you make the best bale you can to maximize size and weight for each one. Along the way, we keep an eye on the moisture monitor in the cab of the tractor as well. It constantly measures the moisture content of the hay we are rolling around in the baler and averages it out. This hay was cut yesterday, raked and baled today, and it's already less than 10% moisture. Boy, it's dry here. So that's it, my friend. That's what you do for days, for weeks, even months in order to make hay for the cows. It's not glamorous. It's often greasy and dirty, but hey, it's a job. And it's one that I'm happy to do right now. Every bale we make saves the ranch money. To buy hay, it can cost up to $200 a ton delivered. Each bale we make costs the ranch about 40 bucks. That's the difference between hay and no hay here. We're running long, so join me on Tuesday for the project list as we tackle a huge project and do some math. I hate math. But we're going to average out yield up till now, project that across all of our acreage and that we have left to cut, and figure out how much hay we have and how much we're going to have to buy. We're also going to talk about options on how we're going to pay for it. Should be a good time. It's going to make my head hurt, but it needs to be done. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Please subscribe and follow along with us as we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary, the good, the bad, and sometimes the downright depressing. We'll see you on Tuesday. In the meantime, click this little thing up here and head to our website. There you can sign up for the Herd Report, our weekly newsletter straight from the ranch, featuring behind the scenes videos, bloopers, commentary, and a whole lot more. Have a great week, and thanks for joining us in our Wyoming Life.